Salam and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. We're looking at this amazing thing about the winds as we read in Surah Al-Jathiyah, verse number 5. And the varying direction of the winds. There are signs for people who use the intellect, and this is from the Quran. Let's look at some of the important points here. The wind is the air current formed between different temperature zones. Varying temperatures in the atmosphere give rise to different air pressures, thereby making the air continuously flow from high pressure to low pressure. If the difference between the pressure centers, that is the temperature in the atmosphere, is too high, then the air current, the big wind, becomes very strong. And that's why you get hurricanes and tornadoes and twisters and so on, right? What is interesting is that despite highly divergent zones of temperature and pressure, such as the equator and the poles, our world is not continually exposed to very strong winds, thanks to some barriers and regulations. Who has put these regulations in place? It's not a chance event. It is a supreme creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who has made the earth such that we can live on it. For example, if you look at Jupiter, that big orange spot on the planet Jupiter is a storm on that planet that's raging there for, I think, thousands of years. Imagine a storm non-stop, right? It's a hurricane that is non-stop on that planet. Whereas on the planet Earth, we have a hurricane, we have tornadoes for a short while, not for years and years and years, right? So if the giant air current, which otherwise would likely have been formed between the poles and the equator, had not been softened, now imagine how that giant storm is being softened by the means that we've described below. The Earth would have been a dead planet. So how are the storms on the planet Earth softened? The main reason is altitude differences on the Earth break the force of the winds, those powerful force of the winds. Highly different altitudes give rise to warm and cold front systems. Seen on the lower slopes of mountains, these systems cause new winds. Thus, the bi-centered system between the equator on the one hand and the poles on the other hand transforms into a multi-centered system. And this is due to cliffs and winds and mountains and so on are softened by being channeled in different directions. The mountain chains on the Earth's crust function like giant air corridors. Corridors help the wind spread air evenly across the Earth, right? The inclination, another important point is that the world, our Earth, is tilted at 23 degrees. So the inclination of the world's axis at 23 degrees also has an important role in softening the winds. If the axis of the Earth had been exactly perpendicular to its orbit and not tilted, the Earth would have suffered from violent storms. Now, who's in charge of this? Let's read again. In addition, two gas layers have been created around the planet to balance the temperature differences. We have the ozone layer and the carbon dioxide layer. The ozone layer absorbs excessive sun rays, but the carbon dioxide has the opposite function. It retains the heat and thus prevents cooling. So it's two opposite functions. All of this is not random. It does not come out by chance. All of this show us that human beings owe their life to a great system, an intelligent design containing increasingly complex subsystems. The entire universe is created to make human life possible. And let's read it again. Surah Jathiyah, verse 5. And the varying direction of the winds, there are signs for people who use the intellect. It means when you see the wind, sometimes it's a soft breeze, sometimes it's a heavy wind, sometimes it's a stormy wind. That wind itself is a sign, it is a proof that God exists. Whenever you see the wind or you feel the wind, it means La ilaha illallah. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.